Hello everybody, this is a tutorial video on the HVAC sizing tool, the first one, which we're calling Getting Started. My name is Christopher Diamond. I work for the Northwest Energy Efficiency Alliance, and with me today is Bruce Mann-Clark, a 40-year veteran of HVAC system design, training, general mayhem, and together we're going to talk to you about this tool that was developed through funding by the Northwest electric and gas utilities in the last 10 years. Tell us a little bit about what is HVAC sizing tool and its origins, Bruce.
Yeah, it's in its infancy. It was called SpecPro, and it's now called HVAC sizing tool, or for short HVAC Street, which I like. Its capabilities, are always centered around a central goal, and that central goal was to have a contractor be able to enter a simple house, not a simple house, but the average house in 15 minutes or less, and get accurate room-by-room heating and cooling loads. And we think that we have managed to do that. Its capabilities, again, it's accurate. We did a study several years ago. It compares very favorable to ACA certified programs, in as much as maybe the BTUs don't exactly agree, but it usually always results in the same size of HVAC equipment going in. There's also a simple visual duct design part of it that another tutorial will cover. The values, hey, it's free. That's a good price. It's accurate. We've covered that before. We've tried to make it as easy and as quick, as intuitive as possible. There's lots of hover over help buttons along the way that can help you. The report is detailed enough for anybody. It gives you component load breakdowns, it gives you duct sizes, it gives you room by room loads. And one of the big advantages is once you're not storing the data on a bunch of laptops throughout the region, the data is all in one place. So if you're running a program, or if you are just running your own through your own HVAC shop, all the files are in one place, and you can run data management reviews on them. And one of the big pluses to me, and we've heard this back from several contractors that started to institute sizing on every job, is it reduced their risk overall. Everybody knows the worst thing as a contractor to have to go back to a house on your own dime. The right size of equipment, the right size ductwork helps ensure that there's no short cycling, that the right amount of cooled or heated air is delivered to each room. In other words, that you're delivering the comfort that you promised your customers.
That's great. So this tool is available for and useful for both residential new construction, or?
I would limit it to small commercial. Sometimes commercial loads have interesting internal loads. Obviously, if it's a true commercial building, you should use a process outlined in manual and also by ACA.
But it's for both existing and new homes.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So what we're going to cover in the next couple of slides here is just some basic getting started. The audience that we're addressing here is intended for HVAC system designers, residential energy efficiency experts, and utility program staff. We're covering just the basic creating an account, getting started, how the navigation menus work, and a little bit about finding help. The first, of course, is a general disclaimer. This tutorial will not make you an expert. It's going to teach you a little bit about proper HVAC system sizing and design, but fundamentally, you should still always use best practices, and if you're in any question, consult a professional engineering services. So with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Bruce to tell us a little bit about getting in there and getting started.
The program was designed to be easily navigated. This is sort of what the landing page looks like stripped down. The first big buttons that you'll notice here are redirect buttons. This is the Better Built. Anytime you hit that, you'll end up in the Better Built Northwest website, which is full of useful information. I urge you to visit it. The redirect button to the next of it is if you ever get lost in the software, you hit that and you'll go back to the sites page. Over here is one of my favorite features about the program, and that's the design loads. As soon as you enter the most basic information about the house, it starts to calculate both the heating and cooling load. And what's nice about this, you can do what-if scenarios. Say you're building a new house and you want to go from, say a code minimum of a class 32 window, and you want to spend a little extra money, you can go down to, say, a Class 22 window. It'll instantaneously show you the difference that creates in the heating and cooling load. Below those upper buttons, we'll call this the global menu right here. This is how you start out. Generally, you land on sites, but if you've never entered a site before, you'll be directed to new site. New site is, of course, where you start to enter a new home. Reports is a lot of built-in reports, and you can run these reports on any sites that you've created. Configure, I really like this one. This is how you sort of make it yours, if you will. You can configure lots of the inputs to make it easier. I know that a lot of contractors don't stock 5-inch ductwork. So if you go into configure and say, I don't stock 5-inch ductwork, it will not suggest 5-inch ductwork. It will probably move to a 6. Health is extremely functional part of this program. If you click on that, you'll find frequently asked questions, and we'll go into a little more depth on that later. Account is the information specific to your account, of course. Once you start entering house, you drop down to the input tabs. When you start on site, you enter the most basic information, where it is, the name of the building, etc. Building is when you start to fill out data about that house, how big it is, say the foundation type. Rooms, and when you start to build out the entire house on a room by room basis, here you'll start to enter the square footage of each room, the exposed wall area, etc. Windows, this is where you start to detail the square footage and the orientation. Overrides and options are two very important tabs. This allows you to sort of customize the home. One of the unique features about Spec Pro, if you say, hey, it's a medium insulated existing house, it'll pre-populate that. This is where you get to override that if the conditions are different than the default values. System, this is where you start to select the heating and cooling system. Duct design, of course, is just that. It's a graphical duct design tool. And the various reports you get out are the duct report and the whole house report if you hit print. Along the way, you'll have lots of information on help buttons. It's always contextual, and you'll find if you actually sort of click on it and read on it, it gives you lots of valuable information. And perhaps the most important button on the whole navigation pane is this Save button. You cannot move from one tab to the next tab until you've hit Save. And once you hit Save, it'll automatically recalculate the design loads and check for errors. You'll notice yellow flags and red flags. The yellow flag saying this is a little out of the ordinary, you might want to double check. A red flag says no, you have to go enter something that's realistic. To create an account, you need to go to www.hvac.betterbuiltnorthwest.com. Don't forget the NW part, like I do oftentimes. What you start to do, it's really pretty basic information they want from you. They want your name, your contact information, email, and password. You must signify that you understand the user agreement and the user cost. Well, it's a bargain, it's zero. Assuming that you're a first-time user, what you'll first have to do is create an account. Ask basic information such as your email, your first name, your last name, company you represent, your password, and then you have to confirm your password. Hit the Create User button. Next thing, we urge you to read the user agreement closely. You'll have to scroll down to the bottom of the page and acknowledge that you do understand the terms and conditions. If you do want to print it out, you can actually hit the print it out as a PDF. And once you hit the I agree button, you've created an account. Your welcome page, since you don't have any existing sites, will be the new site button. And if you hit the new site, you can start to enter a house. That will be the topic of the next tutorial. There's always help available. However, it is a free program, so we don't have a 24-hour helpline, nor do we have a built-in chat function. However, the program was designed to give you guidance along the way. One thing I'd like to point out, there's 5 tutorials. This is the first of those, and this is the getting started one. We urge you to also examine the other tutorials as you move through the program. There's a lot of what we call hover over help. Anytime you see that little question mark up there, what you'll find if you click on it, it will tell you, guidance. Like here, we're asking for what type of foundation the house is on, and it gives you guidance on how to select the right one. In addition to the hover over help menus, we have the help screen, and when you click on that, you get frequently asked questions that have been asked lots of times before, so these have been prepared. There's some other additional help on it. My favorite one of this is how do I enter multiple systems? You can actually do that using this program.